Hey, Preston Ron here, and welcome to my high ticket enrollment secrets. This is my 10-step cheat sheet for giving perfect strategy sessions. And perfect strategy sessions is the formula that I've basically come up with to deliver my high ticket enrollment conversations. I've delivered probably over 4,000 high ticket enrollment conversations over the years. And trust me, not a lot of them said yes, but a good portion of them did. And so over the years, working with some big names, I've sold millions of dollars using this formula, but it's been a process. I've developed it over the years, and I've seen a lot of high-end funnels. And basically, I've used this formula to sell $2,000 to $200,000 programs, products, services, and typically, what I sell now is in the $10,000 to $50,000 range. For one of my clients recently, just in a few weeks, put a new package together, basically restructured something that he was doing, put it in front of a new audience, and I used this formula and closed about $135,000 in just a few weeks. And I have done $1 million in just 2 weekends, back-to-back weekends for one of my clients. And so the cool thing is that you can see what I'm doing, and there's no pressure. That's the cool thing with what I teach is there's no pressure, there's no manipulation, there's no feeling salesy, and you can just have a conversation with your prospect and you can make money. And so I want to share my perfect strategy sessions, high ticket enrollment secrets formula with you, and this is part of the high ticket enrollment secrets that I learned over the years, and I just want to give back and share this with you. So hopefully you apply this and you go and close lots of high ticket deals and you make lots of money. So there's me, Preston Ron, and if you want to go check out PrestonRon.com, you can go see one of the there's a video that I have where I show you the 5 secrets that I use to enroll clients. That's kind of the process. The whole high ticket enrollment secret process really does begin kind of at the ad. So, what I'm sharing here right now is kind of a niche. That's kind of my specialty, is this little niche right here. But when I do consulting with clients, I do recommend that they make a couple little tweaks in their webinar or their video, and makes the high ticket enrollment leads that come in a lot higher quality, and we get a lot more sales, and I make a lot more money. So, all right. So here's the 10-step cheat sheet. So basically, these are the 10 steps. I always have this in front of me when I go through. I have a variation of this. You can have this right here. This is kind of a quick checklist. But basically, the first thing is you just want to spend a few minutes to do and get their mind off of sales. Talk about anything but sales. And so you want to ask them, things like where they live. Maybe ask them about their family, fun. Anything that they're doing for fun, weather. Get them in a good mood and feeling comfortable. So I usually just start off saying, "Hey, is this a good time? Is still a good time for you?" And asking them questions, because they're usually going to say yes. So I'm trying to get these questions where they're saying yes and yes and yes. They're getting comfortable saying yes. Does that make sense? So in their mind, even if they don't say yes, they're still thinking yes, right? So these little trial closes too. So, I just say, hey, I'm in Boca Raton, Florida. And then they might know somebody here. They might have gone traveling here. And I can say, oh, the weather's amazing here. And their weather might not be. So they go, oh, mine's not. And then we chuckle a little bit, ha, ha, ha. And then just kind of roll into it. Okay. And then I have an upfront agreement. I say, well, the reason for our call, this is what we're doing, is we're establishing the reason for the call, which is frame control. We're establishing the frame and establishing our agenda and control. If you've been to a webinar, you'll see hey, this is the agenda for our time together. So it's kind of the same thing. And here's the thing. It's kind of like game theory. So game theory says that you play a game, you play within defined boundaries. So if you're playing a game and you're the one creating the boundaries, you're probably going to have a much better rate of success. Plus the game's going to be a lot more fun, and you're going to probably win a lot more, right? If it's your game. So this is how you set it up, and you're basically subtly telling the prospects what to expect and exactly what's going to happen during the time together. So I like to just tell them, that this is why we're here, right? Look at these next 2 things. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about where you are now, where you want to be in the future, and what's getting in your way. Right. So the next 3 things that we're going to talk about. And then I say at the end of the call, if there's a fit, tell you about the options that we've got for you. I first need to find out a little bit more, see if there's a fit with anything, and then I can go from there, give you the best options. And if so, then I'll present those to you. We can make a decision to go forward or not. Is that fair? So that's what we're doing, is we're just asking them. So now we go right into it, right? We just ask them if we can do it. So cool. So why are we here now, right? So what's going on? Where are you now? Why did you decide, out of all times in the world, to reach out to me now? And so you're probing and asking them questions, and you just really want to get caught up with their current situation, right? So what's going on? So tell me, picture you just met a friend that you haven't seen in a couple of years, right? You go out for coffee. Well, cool. Tell me what's going on. Catch me up. Hey, this has been happening. This has been happening, right? And then they're going to get to the point, well, this happened too, and this is why it brought me here. Right. And so that's kind of what you're doing. And then you say, well, awesome. Like, I understand where you're at. Thanks for sharing. So tell me a little bit about the future. And so, you say, what's going on? Like, where do you want to be? If where you're right now isn't where you want to be, show me and tell me, visualize it. What do you want your future to look like? Explain it to me. Paint that picture for me. And then ask them, why is that important? Like, why is that vision important? Usually it's going to come back to some form of freedom, right? And so then, I say, great, thanks. And tell me a little bit, why aren't you there? Like, what's going on? What's getting in your way? Right? So they're going to say, well, I don't know, because of this, this, and this. And I usually like to have a few answers prepared. Like, for me, it's going to be things like, I'll show you at the bottom, there's going to be some objections, but, we right off at the bat, usually everybody's going to say, oh, I don't have the time, or I don't have the money. Right? Those are going to be the objections. So you probably want to have some, responses prepared for that. So if they don't say something like time or money, then you can just ask them. You say, well, what about time? Like, if you had more time, do you think you can do this? Well, what about money? How's money looking for you right now? Plus, you also want to start talking about money as early in the conversation as possible. So, for instance, in the future conversations, we go back here to the future vision. You're going to want to ask them about things like, so tell me, even if you're not selling money type stuff, you're going to just be like, well, tell me about income. Like, what kind of income would you like to be making in, say, the next 6 or 12 months, right? Get them thinking about that and start asking about money. And that way you can just ask them, a simple question, maybe like, maybe not now, but maybe a little bit later in the conversation. Maybe you're asking them for money and there's an objection. You can say, well, how far away are you from that? Remember that number you told me you wanted, that, 7 figures? Well, how far away are you from that? So you can start asking questions around it without having to actually ask them, like, how much money do you make? You have to be so direct. So great. Awesome. Hey, so let me just get this straight. And then you repeat back. Hey, so this is where you're at now. This is where you want to be in the future. And this is what getting in your way, right? Is there anything else? Am I missing anything? And that's it. And that little step right there is just basically going to let them know that you're listening to them. I've even had people tell me that, go, man, it was awesome. You repeated everything back. Now, if you notice, we're probably halfway through the conversation right now, and we haven't said anything about us. So in high ticket sales, we're flipping everything. We don't really just want to be like asking them, like, tell me about this, tell me about this, tell me about this. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Like, oh, cool. Tell me a little bit more. Why are you saying that now? Why is that important? Cool. I understand you. That's what you want to get to the point. Because you're coming in as, I don't understand you. And you want to get to the point like, great, I understand you. So now, you look at it and you're like, I think I can help you out. I think we got something for you. And then, so we inspire them, and so most sales processes, they have us start selling now, like, oh, great, they said that they're interested. And so, like, going for the sale. But we in high ticket sales is a little different. We want to really dive into their pain a little bit more. And so they got to be excited. And if you get them hurt and you start asking them about their pain and where they are, and you ask them to make a sale, it's going to be very hard for them. You need to be in an excited mood, and they need to be in an excited mood when asking for the sale. It's a lot easier to get people to pay. So they must be excited and they must be inspired in an inspired state after they've felt that pain. So we pump them up. Their self-image, that's important too. That's one of the future things we're doing, is we're pumping them up, but we're going back. So, do you think you can do this on your own? No. Well, cool. Do you think that, if we helped you out, if you had a mentor, like me helping you, or if you're selling for somebody else, if you had a mentor like, Mary over here, if she was helping you out, do you think you can get there? Yes. Great. Awesome. So then you get them to commit. And then, they're going to be like, great. So, I usually like to say, well, do you have any questions? And at this point, they're going to be like, well, what do you got? Right? Like, well, how much is it? What do you got? So I'm like, hold on. One more thing. Like, and this is a secret step. Like, we push back, so a lot of times people are going to go in for the sale. And I say, wait, because this is one thing, is we're not really I was just having this conversation with one of my clients yesterday and another one the day before. When we're doing our presentations, we don't want to be focusing specifically on the clients that we do want. We want to really be trying to weed out the people that we don't want. We want them to start kind of in their mind weeding themselves out by the things that we're saying. That's what this whole sales process is for. That's what the whole funnel is for, right? So the people go through a funnel, they get kind of educated on what the offer is, which is the next step. Once that we see that there's a good fit, we can say, great, now that you've kind of passed through our criteria, right? Like this is who we're looking for. So in this commitment step, we just say, look, we don't just let everybody in, right? This is not just, a low ticket item where we're just, blasting everybody in. What we're doing is we're weeding people out. That's why I'm here taking the conversation. That's why you do these conversations, if you're selling your own program. If you're, in a different industry, maybe you're in car sales or something like that, you want to get into high ticket sales. It's a little bit different, right? You're not demonstrating a product right away. Something should already have been demonstrated through like a webinar. Something goes through and then you say, hey, look, I got a program, but let's talk about it. Like, I don't want to let everybody in. Here's who this is not for, right? So maybe you want to just say, look, I'm looking for people that are committed to taking action now, that know that investing money, time and money, right now is the next step, to their success. And so I'm looking for people like that. And if that's you, if you're ready to, hire a mentor, and like for me, I'm a sales trainer, right? I'm teaching you high ticket sales. So, hey, if you're looking to, hire me to do this with you, then that's, the next step. Get on the phone call. Let's see if it's a good fit. And then I would say either yes or no. So this is the point, you can say, look, I don't think this is a good fit. You can say like, well, how much is it? Like, well, I don't really have a lot of money, well, remember that number you said in the future number? How far away are you from that? Do you want to be at six figures? Like, well, how far away are you from that? And have you set any money aside to invest in yourself? Like, this is a good time to start asking for it. So then they're going to be like, well, what is it and how much is it? And you can say, well, okay, well, here's what it is. Let me go through it real quickly. And this is the thing, you want to go through your offer. So once they commit emotionally, we transition to explain what they get quickly. So this is the facts. Remember, people buy emotionally and they justify with logic, and that's a formula. They buy emotionally, so the emotion has to come first before the logic, right? You can't put all the logic up front because then they're going to get bored and then you're not going to get to them. So you got to do the emotional stuff first, but then the facts and the logic. Like if you have an 8-module course and I'm selling for you, this is how I would do it. Hey, so if you work with Bob, this is what we're going to help you with. We're going to help you with this. Number one, and number two, it's this. Number three is this, right? Like, I'm not going to say module, going to go through and just say, you're going to get this, 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 and this. And it literally takes like a minute. And then I just read it off. And then I might even say, man, you're going to get so many other bonuses and stuff too. Like, I don't want to overwhelm you with all the facts and the logic, right? Because I've already got them emotionally hooked. I just need to show them that there's something there so they can justify it. And now I get them back. So this is the quick breakdown, of this and that, right? They get this and they get this, they get this, that, they get that. So you do it really fast and you don't want to confuse people. You don't want them to be like, well, in module 1, we're going to go over this, we're going to go over this, you're going to get this, you're going to get this. They're already bored. They're going to say, see ya. So this is why it's like, boom, 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 boom. All right. And then we get to the end and we say, hey, look, so I always say, hey, so do you have any questions? And they're going to say, well, what's the price? And I say, great. So, and if we follow these steps, we can just simply ask them if they want our help or not. You can say, great. So, the price is just $25,000. Price is just $50,000. The price is just $10,000. Price is just $5,000. Whatever you want to put the price at. And I'll tell you, as far as price goes, there's a buyer at every level. So if you follow the steps, we can, go through this and just have a conversation without any pressure, without any manipulation, without feeling salesy. And we can just ask if they're ready to move forward with our offer or not. And it's pretty simple. And you just trust the system because it works. And that's the thing. So now you can just go and say, here's the price. And then if they say no, you can say, well, maybe, we can work on payments, what works for you. And so this is where you get into the next thing is the overcome the objections. So if you've done everything, you should have already handled a lot of these objections. And there are typically, after, doing thousands of these enrollment conversations, what I find on high ticket, there's really only about 5 objections that I'm going to hear. And so there's no time, like, oh, I don't really have the time. I'm working with somebody else, got another program that I'm in, so this just can't do it right now. There's no money, and this is expensive. Nobody has money, right? So anytime whether it's a $100 program or $100,000 program, nobody's got the money, but people are still buying. And I'm always the top sales guy, so I tell you it works, and there's people out there buying, so you just got to ask. So they do have the money. These are just smoke screen objections. It's just something they're trained to do. I got to think it over, right? Like, this isn't something that I can make a decision on right now. Bullshit. Yes, they can. They can make a decision. I've proven it. Sometimes we don't want to force them to make a decision on that call. And I've gone, a few calls to get people. Typically, the higher end prices go either way. Sometimes they're just either going to drop their money right there and you'll get it like that, the wire transfer the next day, or it takes a few calls to get it. So I got to think it over. Okay, well, I got to talk to somebody else, right? Like, I have a spouse, I got a business partner, like, they're not on the call right now. So again, like, if you are hearing that kind of stuff, you can, overcome the objection, like, up in the front. Hey, is there anybody else that needs to be on this call before we go through and spend an hour, so that you have to go, I don't want my client going back and spending, after we spend an hour, they got all emotionally involved. I don't want them to go back and totally blow the presentation by summing it up in 2 minutes and going, hey, they got this $50,000 package. They're already like, nope. They haven't gone through the emotional spot, so there's no reason to do that. So got to think it over. Got to talk to somebody else. And then there's somebody else out there who's got something similar, right? Of course there is. There's thousands of other people, right? Like, we're doing sales and marketing stuff isn't unique, right? But how we do it, like, this 10-step process is my steps. These are unique to me. There's other people that do it, right? So same thing. How are you going to overcome that? And so really, we should already have addressed all this stuff during our call and in the presentation, the educational event before the call. But you want to premeditate, the answers to their objections, so that when it comes time to ask them to enroll, that they don't have any objections. And if they don't have any objections, they got to like you, they've got to like your product, they got to believe that they can do it, and they also got to believe that the external things, like this is why I give this checklist out. If you're having, I had a conversation with somebody that said that their client was scared of sales. Well, if you had a checklist like this and you went through and you knew exactly what to say, when to say it, how to say it, you'd have a lot better confidence, going through. And again, this isn't salesy, just having a conversation. If it's a fit, hey, you want to invest? If not, hey, that's cool too. So the next step is just to get their information. I like to do on high ticket stuff. I like to get wire transfers, because you don't have to risk getting any chargebacks or anything like that. And that's it. These are the 10 steps. So apply these 10 steps. I hope you got some great value out of this. These are the things that I do to go through everything. If you want to download this, I have a PDF version, and you can get that at PrestonRon.com/10 steps, the number 10 STEPS, and that'll go to a place where you can get the PDF version of it. So that's me, Preston Ron. Hope you had a great time here, and look forward to talking with you. If I can help you out, I'd love to chat with you. And if not, hope you got value from this, and look forward to the next time. So until we meet again, have a great rest of your day.